Okay.
Nothing is. I probably had a better week than you did.
What gives you that idea?
I don't know. I mean, you want to talk about it, or
I mean,
kind of already talked about it, but
yeah, no. There's
okay.
there's not
Yeah,
much left to say.
I didn't have any job offers rescinded, so I have. I've
Point in
had
your favor.
I've had diarrhea pretty much every day, though.
Oh, cool. I
Yeah,
also had diarrhea one day this week.
nice.
I stepped on a piece of glass overnight last night.
Oh Lord, how'd that happen?
There was a shard of glass somewhere on the floor, and it was dark.
Let me
And
do the math here. Yeah, that checks out. Okay.
yeah, no, I was very tired, so I made the decision to go back to sleep rather than pull it out.
What?
So there was blood on my sheets when I woke up this morning. I was like, "What's that?" Oh, right.
What?
There was glass on my foot. Well, I wasn't sure if it was glass or a splinter because it was dark and whatever. But
Right.
yeah, so I woke up and did the peroxide stuff and whatever, and ended up had to dig it out with a pair of tweezers and stuff. It was gross.
Ugh.
But I mean, it didn't bleed very much once I pulled it out, so it kind of already it's pretty minor. It was just very painful to walk with it. So
Ugh.
yeah.
Ugh. Pretty bad.
So yeah, anyway, not in my top five. Weeks of the year.
Sure. Can I do my Senator Michael Bennett impression for you real quick?
Sure.
Senator Kamala Harris and we're still friends. And when this is all over and done with, I'm going to add her as a friend on Facebook. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to like every single photo of her with her husband and comment, "You did well for yourself" on them. I've heard more Michael Bennett in this promo than there was on Raw on Monday. Heyo.
I have tears in my eyes.
He's so bad, and he's talked more than anybody.
Yeah, it's kind of. I guess their idea for framing these debates, the CNN side of it, is let's get all the people that aren't going to be president to yell at the people who might have a chance of being president.
Ugh.
Because that's kind of how it was framed last night, and that's how it continues to be framed tonight. Problem, although differently, is that while Bernie and Warren were good last night, Biden is not.
No.
He's very bad.
No. He's. It's over. It's over, Joe.
So.
Here's I will say this round to me has been I don't know if it's better moderated, or I'm not talking about the quality of the questions, but just as far as directing traffic and people not talking all over each other and ignoring the moderators and such. I feel like that they've been easier to watch. But why are the guys that are polling at 0% still on the stages at this point?
Yeah, it's whatever the weird arbitrary rules that the DNC set up for these debates was pretty dumb. And then there's candidates like, I don't know if you're familiar at all with Senator Mike Gravel.
No.
He's an old man. He was a senator from Alaska. He's further left than Bernie, and
wow,
his whole goal was he hired like 4 teenagers to do social media for him. And his whole goal was to just get on the stage for a debate so he could trash Joe Biden.
Okay.
Like that was publicly what he said his goal was to push everybody further left. And he ended up meeting whatever the donor quota was, like 60,000 people. He just met it, but he was tied with like any of the schmucks like that have run the last 2 nights. So on the quote unquote tiebreakers, he wasn't allowed to be in it. I was like, see, now that would be more interesting if someone just was up there just literally screaming "F you, Joe Biden" for 2 hours. you're a shill.
Right.
I really enjoyed Gabbard calling out Kamala Harris's record as a prosecutor just now. That was fun.
I missed that. I was on the phone with my my pharmacy trying to get my GD prescription refilled.
Oh. Oh, is there issues with the pharmaceutical industry and perhaps healthcare as a system overall?
So get this. So I don't go to a doctor to get these things prescribed. I basically go to like a nurse practitioner to get an antidepressant.
Oh, I thought you were prescribed. Like you just knew a guy.
No. So it's like it's legal, like nurse practitioners, but I'm not seeing a medical doctor. Regardless. So I have to go downtown every 3 months. Or it was every month or 6 weeks. And then my last time there, so like, okay, I think we can, just do this every 3 months now, and you can talk about how well the medication's working for you. Still check in every 3 months or so just to make sure everything's still working. I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, that sounds good. I said, the only problem with that is that these prescriptions you give me, they only have one refill on them. And so every 60 days I need medication. And with these antidepressants, if you just stop taking them, like it's really bad.
Right.
like I was in between insurances for a while, and I basically had to cut these pills into like quarters and halves to last until I could get to till the new insurance kicked in.
Right.
So she's like, well, that shouldn't be. Maybe your insurance doesn't allow more than one refill. I'm like, I don't know what the deal is, but there's only ever one refill on these things. So she's like, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and put 2 refills on these, but I'll see you in 90 days. I'm like, okay, cool. So sure enough, I pick up the prescription and there's one refill on it. So I know that I'm going to run out, July 31st or whatever. And my next appointment isn't until August 31st or whatever.
Right.
So I called the pharmacy the day, like 4 days ago. They were closed. My fault. They have an automated system set up though. And they're like, hey, sorry, we can't refill this for you. But if you'd like, we can contact the prescriber and ask them to refill it. You're like, yep, that sounds great. So I did that. They're like, okay, cool. It'll be ready today, Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
No, nothing from the pharmacy, nothing from the nurse practitioner, nothing. Like, oh, cool. So I'm down to my last antidepressant pill. So
cool.
Yeah. So I call the automated pharmacy thing again tonight. It's my fault that like I'm on G1 time, and so I'm, I wake up at 4:00 in the afternoon every day. But regardless, so I called the automated pharmacy thing again, check on the prescription status, and they're like, "Yeah, we haven't received a request to refill this yet. Would you like us to contact the prescriber?" Like, yes, that's what I asked you to do 3 days ago. Like, okay, we'll do that. Your prescription will be ready Monday, August 3rd. What is this? Yeah, so there's something. Yeah.
So what's the next step if that doesn't work? Do you have to call the doctor or the nurse practitioner directly?
I gotta call somebody while they're open tomorrow and say, look.
You gotta talk to an actual person.
Yeah, it should, but like then don't have the automated thing if it doesn't work, know? Like, but yeah, so I gotta call the office. I guess I'm gonna try the doctor first, because as far as I know, it should just be she sends a prescription over and then I pick it up 45 minutes later. So it should be pretty simple, but I hate that whatever the snafu here is, whether it's the insurance company that doesn't do more than 60 days at a time or the stupid nurse practitioner, I'm not sure, but here we are.
Just another wonderful tale from the American healthcare system.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like every one of these debates, and it's like a big Fox News thing. Is like a lot of people love their insurance. I'm like, who loves their insurance? Who loves the healthcare system in America, except for people who are old and get to qualify for Medicare?
Well, maybe if you're a government employee, because my wife is a government employee. And our insurance
It's pretty freaking great. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
It's pretty much nothing out of pocket. You pretty much pay. You may have to lay out money, but you get reimbursed for it, and you pretty much pick where you want to go. Like, it's pretty great. It's pretty great insurance.
Now, stick with me here.
Yeah.
Imagine if everyone could do that.
Right? Sounds pretty
every
good.
American citizen could do that.
Yeah, sounds pretty good.
Imagine if every other civilized country in the world had a similar system that works fine.
Yeah, I think we're onto something here.
Big ideas.
Mm-hmm.
One day.
I might be wrong in that it might be like you still have to go to like an Aetna doctor or something, but I think most places accept Aetna. So
Yeah.
I don't yeah. So I don't anyway, regardless. All right, let's talk about these promos. I don't know how to transition here.
That's fine.
Let me pull up our messages here so I know what's. Let's not do 20 minutes on new Twitter, shall we?
Sure. God.
It's real bad, man. Like, who uses the? I don't.
What kind of psychopath uses desktop Twitter?
Right? What?
Serial killers. That's who uses
Police.
laptop Twitter.
The police use
Right.
desktop Twitter.
Cops.
Like, I have it open right now because that's how I record this. But
No, that's
otherwise,
Michael Bennett. That's who uses desktop Twitter.
I don't like this new Twitter layout. They changed it for the sake of changing it. But Senator Harris and I are still good friends.
Classic.
all right. Hey, everybody. It's The Wrestling Life. It is August of 2019, and this is a very special episode of the show. I'm Ethan.
And I'm Liam.
Liam, as usual, we have so much to talk about this week.
And so many things that we can't talk about.
We're taking a break from discussing Monday Night Raw, Tuesday Night SmackDown, soon to be Friday Night SmackDown. And we're going to talk about some classic promos, our 5 favorite promos of all time. We've each made a list. Know how much you love TWL lists.
Oh, yeah.
And so here we are. I will say I was surprised in seeing your list, and I don't know if you're surprised in seeing mine, but there were some omissions and some things that obviously we didn't want to come up with 10 or with the same 5 promos. We wanted 10 different promos,
Sure.
but there wasn't as much overlap or as many of the, the classics as I thought there would be here.
Yeah, and I don't know whether or not, like you said, if that's just us trying to, think outside the box, or if it's just a matter of taste. And I guess, there's certainly some honorable mentions that we can go through, either before or after, maybe both. But yeah, I think once we get into our top 5 lists, it'll be clear some big ones that aren't there, and that maybe we'll talk about after we give our lists.
All right, I didn't necessarily rank mine 5-1. Did you?
Not officially. I think I know what my number 1 is, but the other 4, much like when we did our last list, our list of our favorite things that happened in the time that it took us to get to 200 episodes. We're not necessarily saying one is definitely number 1, and we're not even necessarily saying these are the greatest promos that have ever lived definitively. These are just 5 promos that we love and that we consider our favorites. Is that fair?
Oh, without question. Yes. We're nothing if not fair.
Of course. And balanced, TMCR.
Yeah. All right. I guess I'll start, if that's all right.
Sounds good.
The 2011 edition of Monday Night Raw in Anaheim, California, February the 14th. Not that I remember exactly where I was. But the return of The Rock to Monday Night Raw after a 7-year absence. He cut his "I'm back" promo, "I'm never leaving again" promo. As far as a traditional money drawing promo, I don't think this was that. It ultimately did lead to like the biggest money match in the history of wrestling.
Sure.
In Rock and Cena, but it meant a lot to me. I thought he was sincere. I don't know if sincerity is an emotion that someone that has designs on being president of the United States is capable of, but it felt sincere to me at the time, and I really liked it. So The Rock returning is my first choice here.
It's a good choice, and I mean, for what it's worth, there was talk at the time that he and his agent sort of had a falling out because his agent thought that going back to wrestling would hurt his Hollywood image.
Mm-hmm.
And he went back anyway. So that to me tells me he, whatever is left of the person before he became such a massive star, I think, the true love and respect for pro wrestling, I think that's real. Yeah.
So I know you're not the biggest Dwayne guy, but
no, it was a great moment. It's an iconic moment. There's no denying that. My number 5 will be the Shawn Michaels August of 2005 promo in Montreal. Came out just a tremendous job he did. This was the go home show for the Hogan match. And he came out in Montreal, loud "You screwed Brett" chants. He perhaps you could say this is a bit underhanded, but they really wanted you to think Bret Hart was going to show up either on that Raw or at the pay-per-view, correct?
It's one of the best bits of storytelling that they've ever done. And that part never gets discussed too many places.
Yeah. So in Montreal, it's the go-home show. It's a rabid crowd. People hate Shawn Michaels because the two most beloved people in Montreal, as far as wrestling goes, are Bret Hart and Hulk Hogan. And Shawn Michaels is now the enemy of both of those men. So he is. It's like Satan came out. He's in a suit, which Shawn, especially in that era, was generally not a guy who wore a suit a lot on television. And he just cuts this great promo. They play Bret's music once. Of course, Bret doesn't come out, and Shawn just keeps healing it up and keeps doing his. It's the closest I think they got to, 97 heel Shawn Michaels coming back in that era, and just heels all over the crowd. I think they played Hogan's music once in that segment too, and of course Hogan doesn't come out then. So it's just he's just playing that crowd like a fiddle, and it's such a great example of the heel that even you can respect his ability, and people love Shawn Michaels obviously, but people bought that SummerSlam to see Hulk Hogan beat Shawn Michaels' ass because he was so great in that feud, and I thought that Montreal promo was like just a perfect example of that.
Yep. Who's your daddy, Montreal? He's incredible. Yep. Obviously, the knock on Shawn forever was his promos, but he was great. He was great there. And we'll transition here to my second selection, which is the January 4th, 2010, the Monday Night Wars reboot, the first night that Impact.
Oh my gosh!
The first night that Impact went head to head with Monday Night Raw, January 4th, 2010. Bret Hart returned to WWE, and he had his face-to-face encounter with Shawn Michaels. And again, this falls more into the sincere, personal storyline, long-standing storyline resolution.
Sure.
You're one of the rare times where you're not punished for having been a fan forever and paying attention to continuity. Like, they had this long-standing 13-year personal issue at the time, or 12-year personal issue at the time, and they resolved it, and it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, the hug, and even the way they went about it. There's the moment where Shawn is standing in like sweet chin music position.
It was so great.
And he like does a little twitch and then goes in for the hug. It's really quite incredible. And obviously, again, maybe Bret isn't thought of as a great promo, especially not Bret in 2010. But everything felt so sincere, and people were so happy to see Bret. And they were in Dayton, Ohio. It's not like they were in Philadelphia or Toronto or Chicago or something. Like they were in Dayton, Ohio, of all places, and crowd just went nuts for it. And as you said, it's something that you could never manufacture something that real.
Yeah, that was super.
My second choice will be it's interesting when I was thinking about my list, because there's so many great promo artists that we can go through. If we did maybe that'll be a future episode someday. We'll do just our 5 best mic guys, or
Sure.
best guys on the mic. Ric Flair, obviously, going to be on the top of most people's lists when it comes to the best promo guys of all time. But Rick had so many catchphrases and so many repeated lines. Not that that's a bad thing, but that he would kind of go back to. And I almost found it daunting when I was thinking, like, I got to pick a Ric Flair promo for this.
Right.
But I found one that I loved, that I think it's perfect because it has pretty much every catchphrase in it. Okay. And a couple others too. It's from 1985 on an NWA World Championship Wrestling show. It was leading up to Starrcade that year. I don't have an exact date because I couldn't find one, and the WWE Network was no help. But anyway, because this promo, it's if you just go to YouTube and type in Slick Rick, it's going to be the first one that comes up. So he's doing call and response with the crowd, where he's talking about where he's getting the girls to shout Slick Rick as he's talking. He has a great line about Buddy Landel, who they were trying to make the new Nature Boy at that point, where he says he spent more on spilt liquor than Buddy Landel made an entire year. Just buried him 6 feet under. It was tremendous. And hits the whole,
probably 1,000%. Sorry, probably 1,000% true. Also,
I would bet. I wouldn't doubt it. But and then he sort of ends with the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, son of a gun, and hits him with the having a hard time holding these alligators down. And he's just tremendous. It's just tremendous promo. Like I said, I wish I had like a better direction to send people to from the specific show. But yeah, like I said, if you just YouTube Slick Rick, it's just, I could have picked any number of those classic NWA promos, or even some of the more wild later WCW promos, but that was the one that really stuck out to me for a Ric Flair promo.
I like it. I think I didn't pick a Rick promo for the reasons that you laid out there. It's like, how do you pick one?
Yeah.
But I like that. I like your reasoning for how you could pick one. So that was cool. Alrighty, let's see. My third selection, Shawn Michaels challenging The Undertaker for a match at WrestleMania 26. This is on Monday Night Raw, a Slammies show, like in December 2009, I think.
Yes, Dennis Miller hosted that night. He was the celebrity guest star that night.
That's right. And, Triple H came out and immediately buried him. I guess they didn't like Dennis, and Dennis was upset that Vince was trying to tell him how to do comedy. And...
Yes, they wrote jokes for him for his monologue that he did at the start of the show.
Jeez, can you imagine? Like, whatever Dennis Miller has become, I don't think he's primarily a comedian any longer. I think he's primarily a political commentator now.
Sure.
But regardless, the guy has certainly paid his dues and succeeded in comedy. At one time, he had succeeded in comedy at a level that very few people ever reach.
Yes.
And you're going to have the WWE creative team in 2009 write him some jokes.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so Shawn had lost to Undertaker, of course, in their WrestleMania 25 match, and Shawn cuts this great promo. on the Slammy show where he challenges Undertaker one more time, says he knows he could beat him, and Taker knows it too. And it makes you want to see the match, and it's, 3 months out from it or whatever, 3.5 months out. And really another rare example of good long-term storytelling.
Yeah.
And if you read the Wrestling Observer at the time, you knew about a year and a half in advance that Shawn had given the company WrestleMania 26 as his retirement date. And so you knew that they were going to get there somehow, and that's how they did it. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's tremendous promo, and I love the way he even pivots, because at first it's just sort of like an acceptance speech where he's like, yeah, I didn't get the job done, but it was a good match, and that's cool too. And he starts to leave and then turns back and cuts the serious promo. It's really, really well done.
Yeah.
My third choice will be a pretty famous and important moment in 1997 WWF. It was the go-home show for WrestleMania 13. Bret Hart's tirade as Raw was about to go off the air. He had just lost a cage match for the WWF Championship because the Undertaker had slammed a door on his head. And so it was, because the idea was if he won, his match with Austin would be for the WWF title that Sunday.
Right.
But Undertaker didn't want Sid to lose the belt because he was wrestling Sid on Sunday, so he wanted to win the belt. All makes sense. And afterwards, Vince McMahon, still being an announcer in this stage, gets in the ring and says, "Bret, you must be frustrated." And Bret says, "Frustrated isn't the goddamn word for it." And he goes from there on a tirade. The best part is, and this was obviously the beginning, and that Sunday was the famous double turn with him and Austin. But this is just another example of great storytelling where they're leading up to it, where Bret is 100% justified in being frustrated and being angry because he plays by the rules. He's the ultimate hero, and nobody else is playing by those rules. And yet when he gets frustrated and angry about it, the fans are going to turn on him. It's not him that's changed. It's the fans who have changed. It's the whole damn company is the ones who have changed. I just love the logic behind that whole era of Bret's character. And that promo is pretty iconic for me.
It's tremendous. I don't know if we want to go honorable mention here, but I did not select the Bret Hart cuts a promo on the United States and compares it with Canada and talks about how Canada still takes care of people with healthcare and they don't shoot each other on every corner. That's an honorable mention one for me. The Bret Hart Canada healthcare promo.
That's great. Yeah, that's a great one too.
Okay, let's see. My fourth selection is, I don't know if it's technically a promo. I don't know. Regardless, I think only one of my promos is actually a traditional promo. Now that I think about it, but no, I guess HBK HBK Taker one is a traditional promo. But
yeah,
Roddy Piper's Hall of Fame induction speech in 2005. Again, Roddy was just the ultimate worker. And he was a legitimate crazy person. And I don't know that he was ever off. I think he was always on. He was always Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
And very much so when he was in front of a television camera. But he delivers this promo about how when he became a wrestler, he got inducted into this, into this family of brothers and sisters. It was a family he was desperate to have because he wasn't going anywhere. And then he talks about how WWE gave him the ability to have a family of his own. And then he calls out his family members and talks about how proud of all his kids he is. And it's just it's the greatest thing. And it's, just recently here, we passed the 5-year or the 4-year anniversary of Roddy passing. And when I think of Roddy Piper, I actually think of this first. Like, I think regardless of all the crazy Roddy Piper stories, and, Ric Flair tells a story in his autobiography about Piper getting paid with a balloon full of cocaine in Puerto Rico, and like there's he didn't get paid money, he got paid just a balloon full of cocaine. There's a ton of crazy Roddy Piper stories out there, but Roddy loved this family. That's, you know, without question, and I love that promo for that reason.
Yeah, it's a great choice, and I love that he ended it. And of course, he was still the ultimate promoter, as you mentioned, or self-promoter, I should say. Is he wanted to make it clear this was not the period on his career.
Right.
Yet, yeah, he ends it by, you know, you ain't seen nothing yet, and he plugs his WrestleMania 21 appearance the next day.
yeah. So maybe that is a promo.
Yeah, there you go. See, that totally works.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my second to last one here is the promo that I'm sure this aired on television leading up to it, but I remember seeing it on the home videotape. I don't think I need to explain what videotapes are, but there used to be these things called videotapes. And but before the main event of WrestleMania 5, they air a promo video where Macho Man sort of recaps the whole feud with Hulk Hogan. And he just cuts this, and he just gets angrier and angrier and more vicious and more out of breath the longer he goes, as he's talking about the lust in Hogan's eyes. And he airs like a very clearly edited piece where Hogan's saying, "I love Elizabeth like a sister," but then he cuts it right as he says, "I love Elizabeth." And then just goes into this promo, and he ends it by saying, "I hate your rotten guts, and that's what I'm going to spill all over the mat at WrestleMania." I was like, the storytelling, I mean, again, as we're talking about promos, we're sort of start talking about the stories as a whole. The Hogan and Savage story, as weird and awkward and sad as it maybe got in real life over the next decade or so, or two, the 1989, the build of that WrestleMania is some of the best storytelling I think WWF ever did.
Oh yeah, it's right up there with the best. And I'm so glad that you chose this Randy Savage promo. I think, like you said, it was aired on video. It aired on Primetime Wrestling at the time. It aired on the syndicated shows, Superstars and Wrestling Challenge. I remember seeing it on Wrestling or on Superstars as a very little boy. But I'm so glad that you picked this promo and not the cream of the crop promo. Like that's so overrated. Like,
I agree.
Like, because it doesn't draw it doesn't draw a dime. It's just like a funny catchphrase.
Yes.
Whereas this actually, this was a real promo. So I don't know what the deal is with that cream of the crop one. It doesn't resonate with me. And I think maybe just it's all over online because maybe it was one of the first ones that ever got put on YouTube or something.
Yeah.
And so it's been around forever, but there are much better Randy Savage promos than the cream of the crop promo. So,
totally agree. And this one is just, it's really spectacular. And as explaining what the heel's motivation was for this, at the time, the biggest match they could possibly put on, it was just perfect.
All right, my last selection here is complicated. Hulk Hogan was my hero for 20 some years, and then turns out he was a vile human being.
What?
Yeah. We had
Uncle
hints.
Terry, who we just saw on Raw last month.
Yeah. Turns out he was, kind of a racist guy.
Huh.
And didn't want his daughter dating someone that was, of a different race. Regardless, when I think of the Hulk Hogan character, there's a lot of, let me tell you something, Mean Gene, and there's a lot of those where he almost becomes a parody of himself, post everything, like post Andre. I mean, I guess he did some good stuff in them, and there's some good Hogan promos in the Randy Savage feud also.
Yeah.
But I guess everything was kind of more formulaic after the Andre feud in '87, I guess, where, Monster of the Month or whatever, the big stinky giant comes in. whether it's Kamala or One Man Gang, or eventually they started getting some smaller guys in there because they thought that they could actually work and bump around for him, like Bad News Brown. That didn't exactly work out, but Kurt Hennig, anyway.
Yeah.
But by that point, there was a formula for Hogan promos, but if you go back to the like 86 or late 86 and the Paul Orndorff feud, which was, it drew 60,000 plus people in Toronto. Legitimately, one of Hogan's greatest opponents, Paul Orndorff, in terms of,
he doesn't get mentioned a lot when people go down that list.
Yeah, it's always Savage and Andre but yeah, when this was still a house show business and not a TV business, Hogan and Orndorff was huge. So Hogan cuts a promo. Again, finding it, this promo was actually a lot harder to find on the internet than I thought it was going to be. I'm sure it's on the network. I'm sure it's on some compilation promo thing, but as a standalone promo by itself, it was very difficult to find. But it's Hogan talking about the creation of the earth, when God created the earth, and then God created a set of 24-inch pythons, and it establishes him as this larger than life character, and then he talks about the jealousy that Orndorff had for him, and how Orndorff's gonna face the reckoning of the pythons. It's cartoony 80s Hulk Hogan, when maybe he was still putting a little more thought into his promos rather than just spitting out formula stuff, and I loved it.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I liked the way he really did frame it. As you said, he establishes who he is, he establishes who Orndorff is, he establishes their motivation, and he says, "All right, we're gonna fight, and I'm gonna kill you."
Yeah,
and he does it in a very cartoony, Hulk Hogan way. But you can get that basic gist of what he is. That he hates this guy now. He thought he was his friend. He turned on him, and guess what? Now you've got to deal with the full power of Hulkamania. You done effed up, man. Now I'm coming down on you with with everything.
Yep, tremendous.
And my number one, or not officially number one, my last promo that I'm going to mention here on my official list is I could have probably just made a list of all Dusty Rhodes promos, as I almost did, honestly.
Yeah,
I thought about that today. Similar to how you did your worst gimmicks list was all Ed Leslie's.
Yes.
I thought I might do the inverse of that and do 5 Dusty Rhodes promos, but decided against it. Maybe if we do a volume 2 of this, well, it'll be all Dusty next time. But anyway, so settling down on one Dusty Rhodes promo, and I adore the Hard Times promo. It's a great promo. It's tremendous. It's beautiful. It'll be played in any time Dusty Rhodes' name is mentioned for the next, as long as people care about wrestling and keep records of old wrestlers. He will be associated with that Hard Times promo. And I'm not saying that's the wrong choice, but it's not the choice I made today.
All right.
The one I went with is, it's a short one. He's talking about Tully Blanchard. And it's called, you can look it up on YouTube, it's called The Cold-Blooded Sausage Maker. And Dusty spins a tale about how he reads this story to his daughter, Teal Margaret, about the cold-blooded sausage maker, this villain that goes after all these little piggies. And right when the cold-blooded sausage maker is about to get all the piggies, the American Dream shows up and saves the day. But this time, Tully Blanchard, it's different, because now Dusty is the cold-blooded sausage maker, and Tully's the little piggy. It's so good. It is so good, and it's just a beautiful example of how Dusty could just talk and talk and talk, and you'd be like, what the hell is he talking about? And then he'd spin it into the best thing you ever heard.
he really should have been like a Southern Baptist preacher.
Yeah.
He was gifted. He was so gifted. Like he had a gift for speaking that should have been used in a way other than the wrestling business. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Motivational speaker, something like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He could have done it.
Good choice though. Like I came up, obviously, like you said, the Hard Times promo. I don't think that's overrated. I think that's really great.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, no question.
But I like the different spin on it there.
And I believe I read on Twitter once Cody said that that's his favorite promo. It's the cold-blooded sausage maker. So
nice.
I appreciate being in good company with that. But yeah, those are, I guess, our official lists. Obviously, some honorable mention. I thought about putting the Punk one on here. Personally, I have a lot of appreciation. Not that it was like a great money drawing promo, but we were at a Raw in Baltimore together where he told the anonymous general manager that until he named him the number one contender, he was going to sit in the ring and make snow angels.
Yes.
That was I loved that Punk. I mean, I've talked before on the show. I'm not a fan of work shoot stuff, and I think a lot of Punk stuff from that era does not age well. But there's a few ones in there. That one is really fun, and I mean the sit down promo is iconic, whether I like it or not. So it's like,
right.
I'm not hating on it if you love it, but I also really like the promo where he talked about how Cena had become the Yankees. I always thought that was a great line of sort of reframing what that feud was, because Cena was always portrayed as this conquering hero overcoming the odds, and Punk was pointing out that no, you are the monster now that I'm trying to conquer. I thought that was well done. But yeah, Punk in 11 had some good ones there. Maybe not any that really made my list.
Sounds good. All right. Anything else you want to get into?
Not really. I mean, there's some minor like funny ones, like woke leftist hero Daniel Bryan cutting into baby boomers by yelling at Vince McMahon in December of 2018 was pretty great.
Yeah.
Him on commentary telling Byron Saxton that he hopes his daughter grows up to kick 1,000 men in the groin. And I hope specifically she kicks Byron in the groin because he sees all the plastic water bottles and chicken that Byron eats.
He's a really gifted speaker as well.
Yeah. A lot of guys too good for wrestling. But obviously with this episode, I think we both want to get some feedback on this and hear from you guys. So definitely tweet us at TWL_podcast. Tell us about your favorites. You want to give us a whole 5 list? You want to just pick pick a couple to send us? Definitely tweet me there. I'll be interested to see the feedback we get here.
Give me some Arn promos too. Like I always hear about Arn with this great promo, and I'm not disputing that. But obviously Arn didn't crack either of our top 5s. And just, send me some Arn stuff.
Yeah. Is there I don't know, maybe you think Punk's best stuff was in Ring of Honor. Maybe maybe there's a Samoa Joe promo I'm overlooking. Maybe there are guys from those eras. Maybe there's guys like Arn or Tully or other Savage promos. Obviously Piper. We didn't pick a specific Piper promo besides your Hall of Fame speech. So is there like a classic Piper promo from Portland Wrestling or something that we're overlooking? Definitely tweet us there. I'd love to hear people's feedback on this.
All right. Well, till next time. I'm Ethan.
And I'm Liam.
We'll be back soon with more stories from the wrestling life.
Goodbye.
All right. I think that went pretty well.
Yeah. I was like, at one point, I always have that thought in my head, like, we've been talking for long enough, and then I remembered with the clips and everything, it'll be fine.
Oh, holy crap! Yeah, that, and I mean, we still probably went 40 minutes.
Yeah,
I mean, actually talking.
I don't know how I could possibly worry about this. We're 207 in. Like, yeah. Of course we have enough material.
Right. All right. Yeah. Well, let's try to figure out if sometime during the day works for you over the next, 10 days or whatever.
I think Friday afternoon would probably be best because I'll be here and no one else should be home. So.
Okay. This coming Friday?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a rough idea of what time I need to wake up?
Again, I don't really have anything to do until like the evening. So
Okay. Okay.
I mean, if something does come up, like LOL, a job interview or something,
Right.
I'll let you know. But as of now, I don't know, like noon on Friday.
Okay. All right. That is doable.
All right, homie.
All right. Love you, dude.
All right, bye.
Bye.